It is the hottest show in all of Las Vegas, the 2013 NAB Show. 90,000 attendees from around the world, broadcasters, filmmakers, digital video professionals, and more. They are all here to learn, network, and get inspired. Hey there, we are coming to you live from the Studio Experience sponsored by Intel. I'm Rich DeMuro, your host of NAB Show Live. Thanks for joining us. This has been an amazing show to see everything come together, the show floor. Everyone's still putting the final finishing touches on all the booths, but there's been so much to see and do thus far. Let's start you off with a little welcome message from the CEO and President of NAB, Gordon Smith.
Welcome to the 2013 NAB Show. We're delighted to welcome more than 90,000 attendees from 155 countries to the leading global event for media and entertainment. There's no better time to be in this business. Advances in technology are propelling the industry to new heights, making it possible to deliver crystal clear audio and video content to consumers on every imaginable platform. As consumers demand content anytime, anywhere, on any device, broadcasters and media and entertainment professionals are responding in resounding ways. We're witnessing exciting evolutions taking place in the marketplace. And fortunately, you have a front row seat to take it all in. We'll learn about policy issues and business forces shaping the outlook for the industry. We'll explore new business models and technology. And together, we'll discuss our vision for the industry's future. Also, a highlight of the show, we'll be honoring several people who have made a positive contribution to radio or television. This year's NAB Hall of Fame inductees include the popular TV show American Idol and financial expert and radio host Dave Ramsey. And we're so pleased to present renowned broadcast journalist for CBS, Bob Schieffer, with the Distinguished Service Award for his profound impact on journalism. We'll also hear from News Corporation's Chase Carey and Verizon's Lowell McAdam, who will share some insights into today's multi-platform media environment. For attendees, no other event offers as much opportunity to gain competitive insight, to network, and to expand knowledge on trends, technology, and content that are shaping the industry's future. As part of our live coverage this year, we're spotlighting the NAB Show's evolution over the last 90 years. So make sure to tune in every day at 4:30 Pacific Time or watch the archive versions on the NAB Show website to find out the latest news. Now, enjoy the show.
Thanks, Gordon Smith. 2013 is shaping up to be a very exciting year here. Did you hear all the people he mentioned? Dave Ramsey, one of my favorites when it comes to personal finance. Listen to his radio show almost every day, and so many other luminaries of the industry that will all be here in Las Vegas. Now, it's pretty calm inside here in the studio, but outside, the exhibitors are still putting all the finishing touches on their booths. As I said, those will officially open tomorrow, but already there's been so much to see and do. There have been keynotes, panels, even a tech summit. Someone I know went to a private breakfast with the Woz this morning. How much cooler can it get than that? There's really no way you can see or do it all. This is Las Vegas, after all. That's why every day here on the NAB Show Live, we're going to bring you highlights from the show. Check them out.
For over 90 years, NAB has been working with and for broadcasters to keep the industry strong. We are looking at the next generation of technology that can make television even more compelling, more flexible, and entertaining. Through the efforts of our members of the NAB Labs Television Technology Committee, we are exploring just what next generation broadcast TV platforms should include and taking the steps to test these assumptions in real-world environments.
Technology means so much today. And what excites us about technology is the potential it gives storytellers. I really feel that even 10 years ago, there were stories that could be conceived that could not be realized. But I believe that today the technology exists where if somebody can dream it, somebody can find a way to realize it.
So out there, I saw the workstations in Fort Collins that Hewlett-Packard builds, and I was so impressed by the engineering. I mean, it really blows a lot of my concepts away. And I'm glad that they're joining up with Fusion IO, because our technology is the great technology that makes all the applications of the world run faster, and it's really something to be very proud of.
Now, the first NAB show was held back in the 20s, and of course, just as the industry has changed, so has the show evolved. You know, I've been a reporter now for over a decade. I know that's not that long when you think of things, but even in my short time in the industry, there have been so many changes, from my first job with huge cameras and tripods and tapes, to now going live over bonded cellular networks. I even went live over an iPad one time when the generator on our satellite truck blew. That was quite the experience. Now, this week's theme of the show is metamorphosis, the changing face of media and entertainment. Let's see how NAB Show has evolved over the years.
When I first went to the NAB show, I was simply astonished.
It was in 1976, and the NAB show was in Chicago at that time.
First time I attended an NAB show was 1971, when I bought my first radio stations.
So it was very, very small compared to what we have these days, but it was still, you know, an amazing experience.
It really has come a long way. You know, way back, this was an event that represented what the industry looked like back then. So from the beginnings of radio and television, you know, they were basic. You know, this was analog world, and we were talking about cameras and microphones and just what the basic things you needed and were available at that time. And these were big things, right? These were cameras the size of small refrigerators and mics that you took up and blocked everybody's face and all that sort of good stuff. That reflects how technology evolves, and so it was very much way back then a hardware equipment kind of event when it first started out.
The very first NAB show, 23 people showed up at that event.
Let's talk about some milestones first. Let's talk about the 1920s, I guess it was. When did radio become this commercial enterprise?
Well, actually, radio was doing something of commercial nature a full decade before this. But nothing really came of that. Nothing really came of radio. It didn't enter the home in a full-scale fashion until 1920, when a Westinghouse-sponsored station in Pittsburgh, KDKA, began broadcasting the results of the presidential election, the elections that fall. And then people became very interested in radio, and people began manufacturing radios. I'm not going to say flew off the shelves, but there was an enormous amount of interest in radio.
Now, what about television? When did television sort of find its home in a commercial market? How did that happen?
It went through a very evolutionary process from a mechanical system where you had spinning discs with holes or lenses in them to an all-electronic system with a camera tube, a cathode ray tube. And of course, this further morphed and developed through the 1930s. By the late 30s, there were some stations on the air experimentally transmitting television, and one of those was in New York City, and the first regular television service started with the beginning of the World's Fair in 1939.
So then we moved, because nothing in this business stays the same. So that we got radio, TV, now color, and then there's this move to videotape?
1956 at the NAB Show, that was the name at the time for the NAB, it was the National Association of Radio and Television Broadcasters. Ampex unveiled the first successful practical videotape machine, and it just took the show by storm.
Now, I wanted to talk about digital too, because that's sort of the current revolution that our business is undergoing. Talk about that. How did that evolve, and what has that done to our world? It's similar to the explosion of videotape, I guess.
It is and it isn't. Again, digital would not have been possible really and truly without the invention of the transistor. Late 1947, early 48, when it was announced to the world by Bell Labs. And it took a while for the transistor to finally displace the vacuum tube. The early transistors couldn't do much. It was a fairly poor device, but it was perfected over time.
Right.
So the jump then became, let's start chaining these transistors together, and somebody came up with the idea of a chip, an integrated circuit, which made things even smaller. And again, the microprocessor, now we're getting into an era, a period where you can put all this stuff together and you can get away from analog and do something. You can digitize a picture, a scene, you can sort it as zeros and ones and record it, save it that way. You can manipulate it in post-production, and eventually you can transmit it, which is what we began doing on a totally complete basis in 2009. So this was the evolution, this was the jump, beginning with the transistor really and truly until the time where we switched off our analog broadcasting and moved into digital totally.
It is pretty amazing how far we've come. I mean, from SD now to HD. We're hearing about 4K, 8K. We're going to see the first live demonstration of that here at this year's show. And I wonder if people in the future are going to look at our video in HD and say, oh man, that is so blurry. All right, we are here inside the beautiful studio experience sponsored by Intel. What a great studio to present the NAB show live to you from. I think it's time we learn a little bit more about this studio. So I'm going to bring aboard Steve Waskell. He's the CEO of Waskell Entertainment. You made the trip from Austin, Texas, right?
Absolutely.
How are you enjoying Las Vegas?
It's great.
So this place has come together very nicely. This is some nice digs to do our live show from. Thanks for lending us the space. Tell us about what's going to be happening here at the show.
As one CTO said last year, there's more going on here than you could possibly imagine. Just if you look at the technical demo side of what we have here, if you lined up these demos side by side, you'd have a football field long of different technical demonstrations. In the studio experience itself, we're going to be having interviews every morning with CEOs of different companies, with CTOs, with VP of marketing level folks. We've got presentations happening with new technologies, press events in the afternoons from Intel, Dell, HP, and a whole host of companies.
Let's talk about some of the ways Intel, they're using products that they're sort of partners with to show off what you can do with all of this stuff as well.
Absolutely. One of the cool demos, for example, on the outside of the studio experience is a server that has 11 Core i7 processors working together to do media encoding. So when you start looking at some of the new ways that people are using the technology to allow us, right, as creative professionals to deliver content, it's just amazing. We've got a lot of those being shown here at the NAB Show 2013 studio experience.
Who are you most excited to hear from? I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you want to hear from most that's going to come up on the stage?
Oh, there's just so many wonderful people that are going to be here, you know.
One
of my favorites is going to be having some of the different folks who worked on the movie Avatar here. So on Thursday, we're going to have the gentleman who edited Avatar, and we're going to have folks who actually designed the initial production workflow for that. It's going to be pretty exciting. We've got some surprises along the way. We don't want to reveal everything now.
So you can listen to people. You've got some very comfy chairs in the audience there. Can you also go hands-on with some of the demos you have here?
Well, the whole point of the studio experience is, yes, you can come here and see people like us talking here on stage, and you can meet people when they step down on stage. But it's really the technology in action. This is the one place at the NAB show where you're going to find so many different vendors, right, that are involved in creating sort of a multi-faceted approach to content creation, management, delivery, and distribution.
And tell me about some of the things you can see here. You've got all kinds of equipment inside and out.
Oh, absolutely. So you've got not only just equipment, hardware and software, but you have people looking at new ways of doing workflow. So how you can produce content efficiently and leverage the technologies that are available to you.
Now, Steve, you've been in the business for a while.
That's true.
Can you believe how far we've come with off-the-shelf products and what you can create at home in any city in America?
No, in fact, your previous clip that you had, right? So I remember going as a boy to ABC TV when I was a kid, and you had all those Ampex 1-inch tape machines. And when you look at that now and you look at what we can do we're using cell phones and just simple editing packages, it's amazing.
And to think about what we'll be able to do in 5-10 years just sort of blows our mind right now.
It's going to be incredible.
All right, Steve, how can people find this place?
So we're in the South Lower Hall, booth number SL9610. And we'd love to have you come and join us.
Okay, Steve Waskell, CEO of Waskell Entertainment at the Intel Studio Experience. Thank you so much. Now we're going to talk about, well, we love our air-conditioned studios. That's not the case right now.
That's right.
But usually it is. But sometimes you have to get outside and into the elements. I know as part of television, broadcasting live on location is a huge part of my job. If you're making a digital short or even a filmmaker, you got to be out there in the elements. And all across the show floor and even outside, we're seeing so many new technologies that can really put you right in the middle of things. Let's take a look at some trending tech from NAB Show 2013. We are now outside NAB in the central area where we are checking out some very cool technology from Photo Hire. Kimberly Atwell here to explain what is Photo Hire showing off new at NAB this year.
The three new gimbals, we've got the Halo 1000, we've got the Halo 2000, which will carry up to a 5D camera. We've got the Halo 3000, which is just behind me. It's still on the floor here because we're still setting up. And that'll carry an Epic C300, FS700. And we've also got one of these new little quads. This is a very cool little machine, again, using our molding technology. It carries a GoPro.
To appreciate just how cool these are, you have to see these Photo Hire gimbals in action. Kimberly, take it away.
This is the Halo 1000 for the GoPro. It's driven with brushless motors. It's got dual accelerometers in it. It's got two gyros. It's got an internal gyro that's inside the main bit of the camera gimbal, and then there's an external gyro which is at the bottom here, and this allows all three axes of stabilization. So you got your tilt axes, you got your roll axes, and then you got your pan. My fingers don't get in the way. You got a pan axes.
And the next level of your technology, you're working on things that can track me as well.
Yep. So we're working. So what we want to do from here is to develop a dongle that when you're flying the autonomous vehicle, it'll actually track the person who's got the dongle on them.
Photo Hire has 6 new products to check out at their booth, including the ones we saw. Kimberly, where can they find you?
You can find us at booth OE948, and yeah, we invite you to come down and have a look at these cool products and give them a test, and yeah, see if it may meet your expectations. And also, we're very close to the beer tent, so you can get some refreshments on the way.
Okay, we've made our way inside one of Dome Productions' big-time trucks, and this is JP. He's the guy who pretty much designs these things and implements all the technology in here. Thanks for talking to us.
My pleasure.
Tell us, what can this truck do?
This truck can do high-end sports for ESPN, for any kind of high-end sports, even entertainment.
Tell me what kind of design goes into making this truck happen.
The design is based on the weight. Weight issues are probably one of the biggest points, and it's important for us to be able to move anytime, anywhere to the client. And the time is very important. One day we're in Boston, next day we're in Montreal, next day we're in Toronto, and so on. So there's no room for being grounded or to be stopped.
Let's talk about the ergonomics in here. So obviously you have a lot of people working in a small confined space. So how important is that to make use of every bit of space here, but also make it comfortable for the people that are working here?
Well, let me know. Are you comfortable?
I'm great. This is...
So we thought about the space very much. We asked the inputs of all the operators. The height of the table is important. The right seat that goes at the right place. It's a bunch. We can talk about that for days. I can tell you that.
JP, how do you feel when you have a successful production happening out of one of your trucks?
Well, you cannot ask for better. It's the reward.
I'm telling you, that truck is better than some of these small market TV stations I've worked at. So Ken Brown is here to talk to us. He's the Director of Digital Services at Dome Productions. Beautiful truck.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, it's bigger than some of the studios people are working in across the nation.
We're very happy with that truck.
Let's talk about some of the trends that you're seeing in the industry. What are 2 or 3 of the biggest that are driving change?
Well, the biggest thing, of course, is the internet and mobile applications, and audiences are being spread across all these different platforms. So that's led us to have to come up with ways and services to offer our customers so that they can get to those people on the multi-screen platforms.
Yeah, people aren't just doing the big productions anymore. They're also doing smaller productions aimed just at the web.
Yeah, they're doing smaller productions aimed at the web, but they're doing productions that are running in companion with the bigger productions. And what we're finding is that you've got an audience for the bigger productions that you just saw in that truck, that there's another audience that's interested in the show, but they're not interested in the show and how it's being produced and delivered by the bigger trucks. So now you have to be able to provide another program stream for them with content that's tailored specifically for that audience.
Ken, what's the biggest question you're getting when someone's looking at maybe using Dome? What's the number 1 question you're getting asked?
Ooh, well, the biggest thing with the second screen and whatnot is, how do we do it? How do we get out to people, and how do we get to all the different platforms? So that's a thing that we've been working on for quite a while, and being able to integrate our companion truck, our sidecar truck, with the big truck, to be able to take feeds from that, add additional feeds to it, create those different program streams, or else to go out there as a standalone unit and produce content strictly like you're doing here for the web.
Now, some people might wonder, well, why don't you just build everything possible into these big old trucks? And why is space an issue? Why is all this technology an issue? The 80,000-pound limit.
Yeah.
We got into a little bit out there. We didn't
Yeah.
see it in the piece, but tell me about that. There's regulations on where you can go with these things.
Yeah, there are weight restrictions, and the weight restrictions are all over the map essentially in North America. We're running fairly close to that, because on our trucks not only do we have production facilities on it, but we have uplink capability on it, KU band uplink capability on it. So that helps push the limit. But I see the stuff that we're doing in our sidecar truck and companion truck as being a few years down the road. That'll just be part of every day in a mobile unit.
Now, when you say the sidecar, you mean you have your main production with the big truck, and then the sidecar truck is basically the companion for the second screen, the web. You can use different camera angles for things.
Exactly.
That's an essential part of any production at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at shows like the Grammy Awards and all those big award shows and whatnot, they always have a second unit that's sitting there looking at backstage stuff and grabbing some content off the main truck as well.
It's always interesting to me when I'm a fan of a show, there's always someone out there that's a bigger fan that wants behind-the-scenes stuff. They want to know more about the actors. They want to know more about the characters on the show, and that's how you're delivering it, is with these new production facilities.
And that's the social media side of the thing as well, which we've been getting involved in a way. We've been doing social media campaigns for entertainment shows up in Canada, so we've been doing Facebook and Twitter behind the scenes, and then live behind the scenes stuff as well to supplement the main broadcast.
Now, I know you're used to getting your trucks wherever they need to be around the U.S. and Canada. Do you go around the world?
We've actually taken the trucks to Japan, I believe it was.
Okay, I don't want to know how you got that thing there. But what do you think, getting it down here, what are some of the big intangible benefits of being here at the NAB show?
Oh, I think the biggest thing is that you've got the world's broadcasters are all down here. Everybody in broadcasting. It's the biggest event in this industry, and we get an opportunity to meet with these people, and they get to see what we're doing. And as they talk, everything's becoming more of a global economy, and there's broadcasters over in Europe that want shows produced here and delivered there, and vice versa. So we're working a lot closer with a lot of European broadcasters.
Let's look forward. What do you see as some of the big winners and losers in the entertainment space? Let's start with the winners.
Well, I think that anybody who gets into the second screen, or let's say multi-screen environment, has a social media presence will be a winner. And I think that anybody who sort of ignores this trend is going to be in big trouble. They definitely need to be there.
Is there any show that's too big and they think they just don't need it, that maybe doesn't need it? I mean, Academy Awards is a huge show, and they're doing stuff on the iPad.
Yeah, I don't think any show is too big. In fact, one of the things that really got our attention years ago was the Grammy Awards, when the company AEG Digital in Los Angeles did a whole social media campaign and behind-the-scenes campaign around that show for CBS, and CBS attributed, I believe it was a 20% increase in the over-the-air ratings as a direct result of that whole social media campaign and behind the scenes, because they had a whole audience that was engaged in the show well before the show went on the air. When the show went on the air, all those people that were engaged in that social media were tuning into the main broadcast, and it lifted their numbers, and it was like, oh.
Wow, I like
There's
this.
something there.
That was another trend we saw, too, is all these award shows that were tape delayed on the West Coast. Are now pretty much all live.
Yeah, exactly.
And because of Twitter and Facebook and all these social media
Exactly,
platforms.
yeah.
And what about return on investment? Do these companies see that? Is it something that they're concerned about right now?
Yeah. There's an issue right now. They're trying to figure out how to monetize it. And there's going to be a lot of discussion about that down here, I'm sure.
All right. Ken Brown from Dome Productions, thank you so much. If you want to check out your trucks, beautiful trucks out there right between the two halls, how can they find you?
845 is our booth.
845,
yeah,
okay.
Out there.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining us up here on stage. All right, let's talk about some of those startups that are helping companies get return on their investment and also change the game, perhaps. Imagine getting your startup in front of some of the biggest names and faces in the industry. Well, that's exactly what a new program called Sprocket at NAB Show is doing. This is a brand new collaboration. 10 hand-picked startups are getting some major face time with industry executives, and also it's exposure that's sort of priceless. All right, so earlier today I talked with some of the executives that have organized this program, and you won't believe what they're doing. Check it out. What is Sprocket all about?
Sprocket is the idea of creating this global platform for introducing tomorrow's pioneers with today's iconic media and entertainment companies. These are the startups, these are the best and the brightest. If you ignore these people, you probably get a surprise in 3 to 5 years. We're trying to say, look, these are the pioneers. Industry's changing. Why don't we work on and collaborate together?
I am now here with Amy Millman. She runs Springboard Enterprises and is a partner on Sprocket. Amy, tell me about your role at Sprocket.
Well, we're a partner with the World Series of Startups. What we decided was we were going to cherry pick and find those companies that we could introduce to some of the real decision makers here. You see a bunch of entrepreneurs, almost talking to themselves. But here we get the opportunity to bring some really fabulous, innovative entrepreneurs right in the middle of the NAB show.
Now I'm here with Erica Troutman from Flixmaster, one of the companies selected to showcase at this year's Sprocket. What does Flixmaster do?
So Flixmaster is a creative platform for interactive enterprise video. So it's a tool for creatives to bring their videos into the interactive era. As we're moving to connected devices and tablets, viewers are really expecting to be able to do more with their video than just watch it. And we want to make that really easy for the creative people who are creating the content in the first place to unlock that kind of interactivity.
What types of interactivity can you add to my videos?
Well, if you think about the online experience in general, you get to navigate. You get to click and decide where you want to go. You fill out information and maybe that changes the website that you get. It's a very, you're in control and the website responds to you. We bring all of that functionality into the video itself. So you can create decision trees or choose your own adventure videos or have forms so that viewers can enter information and that changes how the video advances. We also let the video talk with the outside website so there can be this two-way communication. As things happen in the video, the rest of the website can change or the platform where it is can change and vice versa. I think it's really exciting to be at the center of where so many media people come to learn about what's new, and we're thrilled to be part of a group of innovators, so I'm excited to learn more about the different companies here, so we couldn't be happier.
Erica, thanks so much for explaining what Flixmaster does. If you want to see Erica learn more about her company and the other startups here at Sprocket, just come to Central Hall 1362. Do yourself a favor, definitely check out the very cool companies over at Sprocket. And if you can't make it over there, Google them because you want to know what these companies are all about. Now, speaking of cool companies, if you do anything with video at all, you know about this next company, Creative Cow. I know I've landed on their pages so many times and I'm stuck in Final Cut and I need to know a shortcut or how to do something. There's also some great videos on their pages as well. Ryan Salazar is a huge fixture over at Creative Cow. He's going to be joining us all week long to lend his expertise to our show. Let's hear from him now.
Ryan Salazar here. If you don't know me from one of my frequent blogs at ryansalazar.net, maybe you've read one of the many articles I've written for Broadcast Engineering Magazine or Creative Cow. Or maybe you ran into me at last year's NAB Show. Whatever the case, here I am now to tell you about this year's NAB Show 2013. So many things, I can't even fit them into this one video. There's NAB Labs Futures Park, the Mobile TV Pavilion, the Connected Media World Attraction, showing and proving that consumers are both the key and control of today's media flow. Sprocket, NAB's version of the Shark Tank, giving 10 lucky market-ready startup companies the chance to present their product or service directly to those in media and entertainment, those that can make it happen. The Startup Loft, showing off the next big thing. And I plan on hanging with some old friends like Mark Hamaker of Autodesk and the folks at Facilis Technology. And while not one of my old friends, I'll be at a private function with Steve Wozniak. Yeah, the Woz. Oh, and a certain manufacturer invited me to see a product that doesn't get released till 2014, and I was one of only a few invited. I'll be doing my now famous, or is it infamous, live blogging at the entire NAB show, so hopefully you can keep up. And don't miss my interview with Cameron Pace Group's Vince Pace at the NAB Show blog. That's blog.nabshow.com. This is Ryan Salazar of ryansalazar.net, hoping you'll stay blogged in.
Talk about a guy who is connected. I was looking at Ryan's tweets, and he tweeted out his cell phone number. So if you're in Las Vegas, you can go to his Twitter stream, and I guess he's open to just anyone who wants to connect with him. All right, let's tell you what's happening tomorrow at NAB Show. The floor is going to open at 9 a.m., so they're putting the finishing touches on everything here. Lots of cool things to see. Cloud Computing Conference, they're going to have Mark Ramberg with Amazon Web Services. He is going to be speaking at 10:30 a.m. Then we've got the Creative Master Series featuring content creators from Saturday Night Live. How cool is that? And Revolution, 2 great NBC shows. There's a super session on display technologies of the future. I would love to see that. Startups and their impact on what's next, and the evolution of spectator sports. You'll be able to watch some of those right here at nabshow.com. And of course, the hottest ticket, well, the second hottest ticket in town. The hottest ticket, I already said, was this show. American Idol's induction into the Broadcasting Hall of Fame. Nancy O'Dell is going to host that one, and there's going to be a performance from none other than American Idol performer Chris Daughtry. You will not want to miss that one. That's going to do it for day 1 of NAB Show Live. What a great day here. Tomorrow is going to be even better with the show floor open. So much to see and do. I hope you have fun running into some old friends while you're here in Las Vegas, and also not staying out too late, because there is a lot to do in the morning. Thanks for tuning in to NAB Show Live. We will be back here on the air at 4:30 Pacific time tomorrow. Until then, I'm Rich DeMuro. Have a great day.